All right, Dan, you want to, thanks everybody for joining us. And Dan's going to kick it off and walk through a little bit of where we've been and where we're going. First with the initial review, then I'm going to take over. Hello, everybody. Casey Dickinson, CMO. I'm going to take over, walk through some of the pieces on the marketing plate, and then we'll pass it over to Benny. Benny will give you guys a walkthrough of the portal, as well as a walkthrough of the metaverse to date, and then go into a little bit on the calendar. So with that, pass it over to Dan.
Thank you, Casey. Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in this world. We're excited to have this format of a meeting, which we're going to try to do on a quarterly basis to provide the community with more detailed information around performance, milestones, and sneak peeks into things that are happening, and just to catch everybody up. We felt like this format was a little better than on Discord. It would allow us to share more meaningful information and demo some of our features to the community that are about to be released. So we're super excited to be here today, and thank you for taking the time. This year marks 8 months since the launch of our first digital assets. So to kind of recap development of the company, business started about just under 2 years ago. We opened our social channels in February of 2022, so about 10 months ago. And on April 27th of 2022, just a little over 8 months ago, we launched the sale of our Genesis Avatar, which was our first asset. And since then, we now have 4 collections in the community. We've built an online community of approximately 25,000 people. We've generated in primary and secondary revenue almost $7 million to date. So about $5 million in the sale of primary digital assets for the game. And about $2 million in secondary market transactions. All of this has taken place in an environment that is probably one of the least favorable environments that we've seen in the Web3 space. Right. So when we launched the sale of our digital assets, we launched into a market that had already begun to melt down. Most projects, as you know, have either not survived this meltdown or are struggling. And so for us to be performing at the levels that we're performing at right now is really, I think, a testament of the strength of the community, the strength of the interest in the project, and we're just super excited to continue to see this. Remember that this is all taking place in the context of a platform that hasn't officially launched yet, and which is imminently going to launch, and we expect to see orders of magnitude of activity growth after we launch the game. We currently have a base of just under 5,000 wallets containing about 15,000 in-game assets. These are being tracked by each, in the aggregate through multiple collections. So there's a lot of overlap in the wallets. So we think there are probably a little over 2,000 active participants in the game right now, maybe a little more. We announced last month a major partnership with Naira and Naira Bets, which is collectively owned by Naira and Fox Sports. We'll be talking and recapping that partnership, the details of that partnership later on in this deck. You all, I'm sure, track the performance of the assets in the secondary market. The only commodity assets are the Avatar and Skyfalls, which were bundled essentially during the original launch of the Genesis Avatar sale and the claim thereafter. The combined value of those assets, which are really shared between the two assets today, represent a north of a 200% appreciation in its value since they were minted 8 months ago, which is again a pretty significant signal as to the strength of the interest in the project and of the community. The aggregate market cap in our treasury today of our digital assets, of the remaining land, avatars, horses, etc., is around $120 million. So that's a pretty significant asset base for us to be able to work with. And we crossed over the 10th all-time sports project on the Ethereum blockchain on OpenSea. And all the projects that are ahead of us have been around for 2 to 3 years. So for us to achieve that milestone in under 8 months, I think is yet another testament, especially in this type of environment, to the strength of this project, which we attribute a lot to the community. So project and community go together, and that's really why we're here, to continue to cultivate our community, to continue to communicate and listen to our community, and work together to launch what we believe is going to be one of the most exciting projects in Web3. So with that, I'll turn the floor back over to Casey to go to the next slide.
All right. Based on the questions that we had received kind of leading into this, and thank you everybody that did submit questions. It's super helpful for us. I think we do a pretty good job of from Gavin and the team of getting a very good idea of what you guys are feeling. You're certainly not shy about sharing opinions, but it is helpful for us in kind of preparation of a quarterly review like this to get a bunch of questions from you guys. So the top 3 questions were all around the incident that occurred last month, specifically around what it was, how we found out about it, and what we did to correct the situation. We've had very candid and direct conversations with everybody that was involved, but it's worthwhile to kind of dispel kind of any other discussions and controversies around what happened. So in early December, we saw a wallet, and the community saw it too, that had minted 5 great horses in a row. The statistical probability of that happening are essentially 0. So we knew something was kind of going on. We dove in and we researched what the situation was. And what we found was that somebody was able to find a loophole in the way that horses were being delivered that allowed them to delay taking delivery and wait for an ideal horse to come. So the random number generator generates a number. It goes into an equation. The equation spits out something that's very specific for that number, and you can use a third-party tool to figure out what asset number is allocated towards that. And by delaying taking delivery, you can wait and see, oh, if somebody takes 3 or 4 more horses, this is what I'm going to get delivered instead. And they were postponing their delivery and taking delivery of a great horse afterwards. That leaves a very obvious signature on chain, because we'll see that people are initiating the initial call and they're getting that number, and then they're not taking delivery of their horse for sometimes up to a day, 2 days. They're waiting for these horses to come in. So it's very easy for us to kind of go in, find exactly what those horses are, find exactly where those wallets were, and find everybody that was involved in this process. We contacted those people. We had a conversation with them. We said, we want to give the benefit of the doubt to a lot of the community members. But at the same time, we knew that there was a bad actor that had been able to use this technical exploit. So we first had a conversation with that person, and specifically, they were denying responsibility for it. And then we had a conversation individually with the rest of the people that were involved in it. We gave them an option. What was going to be best for the project was that we take these assets back and they get returned to us. So we had the option of either making those blacklisted assets that wouldn't be able to be resold again, or taking delivery of them. To the benefit of the people that were involved, they stated that their foremost interest was to protect the longevity of the project, and they returned those assets. When they returned those assets, and the people that we deemed as being responsible for the exploit that knew about it, we banned them. We don't have a lot of patience for this kind of thing. This is hugely damaging to the reputation of the project. It's hugely distracting for the team to have to go through and kind of handle all of these things. but we took care of it. In one case, there was a user that is a member of our community that somebody in the community asked for their seed phrase, and they were minting these horses without his knowledge on that wallet. We worked with that individual. He was very cooperative. He asked us to rectify the situation, and we pulled those initial horses out of his wallet and put them back into the Silks wallet. A lot of you guys saw that was happening or had questions about it. We needed to make sure that this was going to be rectified, that exploit was going to be closed up, and we needed to work with the people that were involved to make sure that we're behind us. So that's what happened. I think that it's a testament to the community, and it's a testament to the team that we're able to move quickly and find the best possible solution for what it was. We're going to take some lumps as we're kind of navigating this space. There's technology that's moving quickly. We're not just following a blueprint. We're using some new and innovative things in our effort to make sure that the randomization and delivery of horses was truly random. We were using a company called Chainlink, and through the process of that, by taking delivery of multiple horses, we were pushing their technology in a way that it wasn't meant to be. So we fixed it. It's addressed. The project is stronger for it. Appreciate the community's concern around it. Somebody else had asked a question also about, hey, can we have a bounty reward for finding these loopholes and exploits? We think that's a great idea. We love that. We're all invested in this project, either through time, through money, or through our career. And we're all kind of rowing in the same direction. So if people find things like this and try to help make this project stronger, by all means, we'd be happy to reward people for that. So hopefully this puts this behind us. Again, I think that the project's stronger for it. We can answer additional questions on it, not in this venue. I also encourage you, like, when you see something, you have questions like this, maybe the general chat is not the best forum to kind of post things like that. Maybe take it to the team. Again, we're all trying to make a great project here. We all see what the potential is here. Things like that undermine the potential and air the dirty laundry in front of everybody. There's a time and a place for everything, and we appreciate if you guys just bring it straight to us. Submit a support ticket, contact us in other means. We have the channels available for you guys to do that. And to additional controversies. So I did an AMA, I guess it was a week ago. Time certainly flies. Specifically around the strategy around what we were doing on 1231 as far as the unsold racehorses and how we were going to approach it. I encourage you guys, if you hadn't listened to that AMA, go back and listen to it. I think there was great questions from the community that we were able to address. Fundamentally, what it came down to is that a change, something was going to happen on 1231. Either we were going to take all of those horses and reveal them and put them up on OpenSea, and that would open the door for anybody to come in and buy those horses at a market rate. Or we were figuring out a way to continue the ability for Genesis Avatar holders in particular to continue to buy unrevealed racehorses at a fixed price. And ideally, we wanted to present you guys with the option to do both, knowing that you were going to want to do one, and some of you guys are wanting to do the other, and some of you guys are wanting to do a little bit of both. So we'll have new auctions that are going to be rolled out. Those are going to be, we're going to reveal racehorses, we're going to put them up on auction, we're going to do them in blocks. We tested this a month or two ago. You guys seem to like it. We're going to continue to do that. The lessons that we learned from this, one of them was, we need to have a commitment to this static point of truth. And that point of truth, there's some things that we're figuring out as we go along, as the project kind of evolves and kind of as the market and the, honestly, as the economy evolves and kind of how we're approaching it. But some things we know, there's nothing preventing us from making decisions and being more communicative with you guys. We're going to have a revision on the white paper. It's mostly done, and we're going to get that out. And the other thing that we learned is that we need to include the community a little bit more in some of these decisions, because we're obviously super close to living and breathing this project. And sometimes we don't know how things are going to be received or perceived because we're too close. So along with kind of getting that white paper, I'm going to set up some time to go over that with maybe the game theory committee, like a handful of people, just so you guys can read through it and make sure that we're not missing something. And we're going to get the community involved more. One of the things that came out of the AMA that I did around this was, hey, what if we had it so that the Genesis avatars could mint a set number of additional racehorses after the sales period? We thought that was a great idea. But one of the things that we realized when we kind of did that is if we said, okay, now you can mint 2 or 3 more horses after that initial sales period is over, and we could do that for future years, how are we going to track the available passes that remain on that avatar for the secondary market for Genesis avatars? It increased a bunch of complexity around all of this stuff. It's like, okay, maybe that is something that we can explore if we can find a very elegant way to kind of do that and communicate that. And maybe that's something that we might reserve for next season. We did like the idea. I think that the idea has merit. I think it's going to create more complexity rather than less. And coming from a marketing perspective, we want to have clean, easily communicated value propositions around each one of our assets and each one of the features for the game. So I think we're standing back from that for now. The ability to buy additional horses has some technical lift associated with it also, and that should be rolling out literally any day now. So the next piece, with 1231, also came to the end of the initial in the plan around the tropical racing avatar. Unfortunately, none of you were lucky enough to unlock the tropical racing avatar, and with it the trip to the Kentucky Derby and the chance to hang out with Troy and the crew in the tropical racing VIP suite. So with the end of that promotion, we'd like to get that back circulated and give you all a chance to win that again. So what we're proposing is that we're going to run it a little bit differently. Everybody that has a Genesis avatar will have 1 entry to win the prize package for each Genesis avatar that's in your wallet. So there's some pieces of this that we're going to have to go through. Benny's going to present the portal. Linking your wallets to the portal is the way that we're going to be able to have your email addresses to be able to contact you if you're the prize winner for this, because the anonymity of Web3 prevents us from being able to kind of fulfill this prize obligation. So we're going to officially kick off the entry process with a more formal announcement towards the end of this month. We'll run it for a couple of months. Again, for every Genesis avatar that you have. So those of you that were worried about having bought, a dozen or so avatars and that they have no additional utility, well, here's a dozen chances to win a trip to the Derby to hang out with Troy. I think that's kind of beneficial. Yes, maybe this will spark a little bit of interest in moving some of the rest of the Genesis avatars. Again, from a marketing perspective, I'm less interested in you guys buying more avatars. It's wonderful if you do. I'm more interested in new people kind of coming in and doing it. So we're going to have a balance of those things. But here's another added utility for it. And this is a model that we like. I think this becomes a pretty interesting way for us to take this format and saying, hey, everybody that owns a Genesis avatar, anybody that owns a Series 1 racehorse, let's give an additional potential for a prize pool. That's another thing that's a format that we can reuse. And that we could potentially reuse with current and future partners. So speaking of current and future partners, Dan teed this up, but a little bit more about the Naira partnership. So this is an exclusive partnership. Some of you may have noticed that the way we're referring to the project now is the official blockchain fantasy game of the thoroughbred horse racing world. I think we're confident in saying that. We're having a partnership with Naira that also extends to the tracks that they own of Saratoga, Aqueduct, and Belmont, as well as their ADP with Naira Bets, and the amazing coverage and the broadcast rights on Fox Sports. This is when we think about partnerships to kind of move into the thoroughbred horse racing world, you start with the biggest domino and then the rest fall. We're working on a bunch of things in the background to continue these conversations. Similar format to what we have. What we really care about is the authenticity that this kind of provides, the on-track experiences. So, just like we're going to be on track at the Derby, doing some on-track stuff with Belmont and with Saratoga in particular is stuff that we're working on. So all of this is it's been amazing for us. I think the A Day at the Races promotion that kind of continues now with on-air talent revealing horses. It's just super cool to see them as excited about this project as we are. And one of the things that for the next step, kind of as we move through, and there were a handful of marketing questions that kind of came in. It's like, okay, when are we going to kind of grow our audience? We need to grow our audience by getting that fiat on ramp and making sure that that it's bulletproof for people to come in with a credit card and buy stuff. So you can expect that as being the #1 priority that we have. And once that piece is done, you can expect that the traffic coming in from the NYRA promotions will certainly increase because we'll be hitting it a lot harder. Right now, there's a lot of friction kind of coming on. Once we have that done, the plans that we have with NYRA are pretty astounding and will be pretty exciting. All right, enough from marketing guy. I will now hand it off to Benny so that he can show you some of the goods. Benny?
Thank you, Casey. Appreciate it. I'm super excited, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone had a great New Year's. I would like to just shout out our team. I know we have a lot of team members from developers, project managers to creatives, all on the call. It's my pleasure and honor to be presenting our collective efforts and work, and I'm excited to share some of our developments. We've been really head down, working really hard. We are still head down right now. We'll continue to be. And I'm really excited to share with everyone kind of the updates and our critical path, which is really great. Before I do share, I just want to let everyone know, I don't think we've had video cameras on. Dan's background is actually real, if you've been wondering. So I just want to let everyone know before I go. All right, let's kick it off. The Silks portal. I know there's been talk around the Silks portal. We shared some of the designs of the UI UX in the past, and I'm about to show you kind of a look into what's going to be launching in the coming days as we kickstart what will be phased updates and developments on our main game website. So let me share a tab real quick. Here we go. All right. So here's a look at the Silks portal. Actually, real quick, I have to check something. 1 second. Get this going right here. All right. Should be good to go. All right, now we're good. Second. All right, I think we're good to go. So, all right, does everyone, you guys see this right now?
Yep.
All right, so we're on the portal right now. We have a couple different development and testing environments for pushing updates to the portal. So what you're looking at is kind of a connected state, right? So my MetaMask wallet has been connected to the portal. This is a test account, right? So it's not on the Ethereum main chain. When we launch it, it will be. And when you log into the portal, one of the big things Casey spoke about is being able to on-ramp with fiat on-ramp new users quite easily. And that means reducing the friction associated with crypto, with wallets, and with logging in. So the first version of the portal that's going live is wallet-based, right? Your account is based on your connected wallet. And by reading the assets in your wallet, it'll tailor your experience. As we do phased development launches, we will share kind of a timeline and roadmap in a couple of minutes. You'll see that the portal gets updated with additional functionalities and features that enhance gameplay, enhance asset management, and enhance the ability to create liquidity for yourself as well. So first tab is the avatars tab. I'm super excited to share this. We put a lot of work into this, basically bringing to life what it means to own a Genesis avatar, what it means to own an avatar. What an avatar actually is more than the PFP itself. You know, we've been living in PFP world for a while now, and to be able to all of a sudden take a PFP and make it much more real has been our goal. And when you think about a marketplace, knowing what you're buying is also relevant, right? Because you're not just buying a character, an identity, you're buying a crest. And as you can see behind the avatar, it's your coat of arms, it's your distinct crest. And even more than that, it's your ability to test these racing silks on your actual racehorse, right? I want to know, what do these racing silks look like on my racehorse? And being able to test that out is pretty cool. Seeing it, you know, on a colt, those racing silks for every single avatar in our collection prior to purchasing one, selling one, is pretty awesome. And it makes, I'd say, curating through our collection really, really fun. So things like that are obviously pretty great up front, just to kind of bring to life your asset, right? And how do we do that? How do we enhance in minor steps over time the ownership experience? And for each avatar, you also have the ability to view that avatar itself in 3D as well, right? So that's pretty cool, and it brings it all to life. So we're really excited about this. Your wallet and your avatars will come to life in a whole new way, and you know, the game will start breathing, which is really, really exciting. And just to show you, these are some test assets, right? So every single asset in our collection has been, you know, kind of developed to have these functionalities. And it's really cool. I have a fun time going through our marketplace and sorting through all the avatars. Our team has worked so incredibly hard on getting this all operational, and it's soon going to be available to the public. Next, go to your stable, right? And being able to look at your assets in more visual form is something that we've been working on, and that includes your stable, right? Being able to look at your racehorse, learn about your racehorse, and then obviously, as you know, being able to view your racehorse in 3D is pretty cool. And then all of this, right, is going to be even more to life in the metaverse build itself. So this is where you're going to be able to syndicate your racehorse from. This is where you're going to be able to list your racehorse. The detailed view of these pages is what's going to help bring everything to life. And as you'll see, there's going to be phased approaches for which we update the portal with new features and functionalities. So being able to put an offer on it, being able to click even into the profile of a user is something that's our goal in order to enhance the community aspect and the dynasty aspect as well. And when you create an account, right, you'll be able to create a dynasty name, be able to write a little bit of a bio associated with kind of what you're building, the dynasty you're creating, and starting to build a social presence within our ecosystem, which is going to, you know, kind of contribute to the farm and dynasty that you build. You know, one of the things that we will be launching over time is marketplace integrated functionality within our game. So one thing that's going to come out is the ability for you to search through these assets, give them a look, click into them, and see what you like. And that's pretty cool because you'll be able to look into all of our assets and then, you know, obviously curate through it. We want our own integrated marketplace, similar but less friction than OpenSea, so that everyone who gets engaged in our platform, whether they're a crypto native, blockchain friendly to doesn't even know what the blockchain is, could have a great experience and could interact and play with very little friction. And that's imperative to us as a business that wants to scale and grow to the masses. And it's funny because sometimes we get on calls and we think about, oh, our community is this big. We're trying to build something that's huge, and in order to do that, we have to ensure that the experience for everyone, regardless of their technical capabilities, is quite seamless. So this is kind of a look at the beginning phases of what you're going to start to see with our game portal. It's super exciting, coming very, very soon. And the next thing I want to share with you, which is also pretty cool, is a look at the Hall of Silks in the actual Unity build. So let me quickly share my screen and I'll get that up and going. Let me see.
And while you're sharing your screen, Benny, I'll just jump in and share that the Hall of Silks is the starting point in the metaverse. It's the point at which you enter the metaverse, and it is a central location that will provide all kinds of really interesting interactive experiences for the community, for new members coming into the community. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Benny.
Yeah. So the Hall of Silks is a really meaningful piece of our game. And you're just looking right here, kind of a sneak peek at it in development. It's going to be a place that showcases the greatest dynasties, they're being built in the Silks ecosystem, right? Your crest, your distinct coat of arms will be draped in this hall. This is where there'll be a lot of links out to other locations within the game. So if you do build a pretty top-notch dynasty, this is where you could get a lot of traffic to your dynasty, to your farms, where people could then offer to stable their horses or put an offer on one of your horses, because this essentially could act as a funnel to your own marketplace. But even more than that, it honors the legacy of the horse industry and of the future, future stuff to come. And on top of that, it showcases some of our history, with the primordial pyramids, right, with the skyfalls, and talks through that. This is a place that you're going to be able to meet and interact with other people, look at our assets within our game, and constantly get updated with new features, functionalities, and new excitements associated with the actual build itself. We're super excited about this, super excited about launching the game pretty soon, and super excited about being able to build something that lives on the browser. It's been a lot of work for us, kind of bringing this all to life, getting everything to function and work properly, and trying to tell a story that not just functions in a flat setting, but in a 3D setting as well. We've worked really hard on doing that. At Silks, it's our mission to make this as real of ownership as it possibly can be, starting with the blockchain and continuing with the experience. So that's our mission, that's our goal, and we're going to continue to push ourselves to get us closer and closer to that each day. So this is kind of a quick sneak peek into this, and we expect the metaverse to be integrated right into the portal. So one of the tabs right on the top, click right into metaverse, and you'll get pushed directly to the Hall of Silks, and then directly within the map view, you'll be able to get pushed directly to your farm, visit your other friends' farms, and it's going to be pretty exciting. We do have an onboarding experience. So when we talk about bringing on new community members, new users, and even current users, there's actually going to be an interactive onboarding experience that's almost like a white paper, but you walk through the white paper, right? So walking to the Hall of Silks, learning about the game, going to private and public farms, learning about gameplay, and that's going to be really cool because it'll support not just education, but driving people to want to get engaged in our game. I think this is a great validator for us, and for the testament to the hard work and the credibility of our company. So that's an overview here. I gotta say, Casey's done a really tremendous job supporting us in getting all this up and running and going. And there's always talks to the server around. I don't know if I even have I guess I'm blessed with the honor of going forward with this, but the OG 5K benefit has been something that we've heard a lot about, and we thought it'd be really great during this Q4 review call to share some information associated with that benefit. Within our ethos of the business, obviously, right, it's about shared incentive, and for being an OG 5K avatar owner, which is 1 through 5,000, we have a very, very exciting gift exclusive to those holders that I'm excited to share right now. So let's go. So as we develop, one of the things that we've really worked hard on is building ownership experiences and assets that speak to our game, that speak to the innovation and feel of our business. And we know that within the actual acres of land and Skyfalls, all owners of each acre will be getting a founder stable. And as a gift to OG 5K avatars between 1 and 5,000, we're going to be gifting exclusively to 1 of 5,000, airdropping what we call the Series 1 stable. It's an OG 5K exclusive, and it's designed and modeled to accompany our Series 1 transport vehicle. And we've been working really, really hard on this. This came to life very recently. It's mind-boggling how talented everyone on our team is. And just to show you kind of a sneak peek at what this looks like on the inside, this stable, obviously you'll drape your racing silks on it, but even more than that, it's meant to take on this modern yet traditional farm feel. We've played with so many concepts on trying to find what our look could be, and challenge ourselves to push the envelope with something that feels innovative, that feels new, but stays true to saying, you know what, I could look at that and think that there's horses in there, right? And that's a horse racing or breeding farm. So just to look at the inside, it's got 2 stories. The story on the bottom, right, is for your horses. You could put your stirrups, accessories, things like that, and then all the way on the top, you have the ability, obviously, to hang out, to post some of your stuff, and really look down at this magnificent, structure. So we're super, super excited to announce this, to share this with you all. This will be coming as we, essentially move forward with development and have farm developments integrated into the platform. And we're super, super excited to give you more information and more visibility into the benefits that is the OG 5K benefit. So super excited about it. I hope you're excited as well. And yeah, thank you so much. So I think next, yeah. All right, cool. So we have a lot of developments right now that are in the works. And as Casey mentioned, number 1 priority for us is pushing things out to you guys, giving you features and functionalities, but developing with a mindset that's focused on long-term growth. Sometimes you think short-term and you just want to really validate yourself as fast as you can. But at the same time, we need to think about how are we going to build a platform that functions and works, for the masses. So one of our big goals once we launch the portal is to have phased update releases that really focus on fiat on-ramp, being able to log in, not with a crypto wallet, but being able to log in with an email and password, reducing the friction associated with that, reducing the friction associated with wallet signatures and gas fees, and building out a platform that really has a foundation and architecture to scale. So in Q1, what you could expect is you'll have your asset management, ability to look at your assets within our actual game. You're going to have the Hall of Silks experience, the onboarding experience that I mentioned and showed you a quick brief look at the Hall of Silks. You're going to have the ability to redeem and claim your parcels of land in the Skyfalls region. We're also going to be pushing out the ability for you to have an account balance and have the ability to not just settle contests when your horse start racing, but being able to withdraw funds as well, right? That's critical that when racing season begins, you get all the benefits of the racing season, and making sure we're ready for racing season is incredibly important and something that we're very much on top of. So that's what we're very much focused on right now from a development landscape. The other piece of integration we're going to be building into our game is we've done a lot of research and due diligence around platforms that have worked, platforms that have failed, and systems that we could basically take and learn from. And there's a lot of great platforms out there. If you look at some of the biggest games like So Rare, for example, Rainmakers is another big one in the fantasy sports space. How do they support marketplace functionality and gameplay for their users that allowed them to grow to such a large extent? And that's a big thing for us. It's also supporting core gameplay within our game, like farm development, stable development, fractionalization, all those things that will be seamless for our users and seamless for future users to come. So that's what we're working on primarily in Q1 in order to support Q2's launch of the marketplace and farm development. And then you'll be able to obviously visit your farms, develop your farms, get your stables, and all those additional assets. And then I did forget to mention, I skipped over, but factorization will be at the end of Q1 prior to Q2, enabling our users to fractionalize their resources and their assets within our actual portal. So all these things are really much in the works, and you'll start seeing them, this upcoming weeks. So excited about it, excited to share. And I think, Casey, I don't know if you want to go over the marketing initiatives real quick prior to us moving on.
Sure. Some of you have talked about how we're going to centralize some of the information that we're creating. I think Nick's been doing an amazing job of creating a ton of great content for us. One of the things that we want to do is create a static this on our website that where all of that stuff can live. So we're going to roll out news.silks.io. It also gives us the opportunity to feed in other stuff. So giving a microphone to some of the awesome content creators that are part of our community, highlighting them there so that they can have another place to kind of drive traffic, as well as our partners, getting feeds into live races. There's a whole bunch of things that we want to do to kind of centralize that as we grow. The tropical promo that we already talked about, that'll kick off probably the end of this month and run through April for the Derby in June, and then as I had mentioned in Q2, increasing the promotions that we're doing with Naira as that fiat onboard ramp comes on, and then starting doing hefty paid user acquisition. Like, we want to grow this audience. We need to be sure that when people hit the page that they're able to go in and buy assets and become part of our community. So we'll start doing some more of that. We had a recent hire that's driving a little bit of that. One of the things that also kind of came up that's not listed on here was about getting the affiliate program up and running again. We want to give you guys the tools to kind of spread the news and energy for bringing them in. That is, we know that a very large portion of our existing community was driven by word of mouth. We want to give you guys the tools to keep doing that.
So I am super excited to share right now a first look at our Own Your Dynasty trailer. I'm sure a lot of people that are crypto native or Web3 native, they see a lot of different content that's pushed out from a lot of different projects. I think this trailer speaks to the passion and creative mindset that's really fueling our team and our passion and energy behind everything we're doing. We spent a lot of time on cultivating the ideation behind this and bringing it to life to really help tell the story of building and developing a dynasty in the game of silks. So I know we have a lot of our creatives on the call. I want to shout out everyone. Atif has been leading this development with the support of Cly and Paul and a lot of our creatives around the team, and super excited to give you all a look at this trailer so you guys can see kind of what we've been working on and what's going to help spearhead a lot of the visuals and brand development associated with our story. So let me share this. All right, I'm pretty sure everyone should be able to hear. So. Gets me excited every single time. I hope everyone enjoyed. You should be seeing a lot more of that. And yeah, thank you, everyone.
It's awesome, Vinny. Thank you. That trailer gives me chills still. It's awesome. Very well done. Awesome job, team. That's awesome. I hope that if all of you were unmuted, you'd be clapping. That'd be great. So thanks again. Next up, and to kind of close out, thank you again, all of you that submitted questions through Slido. I think it's a useful tool for us to kind of allow you guys to put some thought into stuff. And I know that while some of you are very unshy and have no problem standing up in front of whatever it is, 100 people that are on this call and asking questions, other of you would prefer to kind of ask them, and it allows you to ask anonymously, see what's already been asked, and allow people to vote things up. So kind of jumping in, as I'd mentioned kind of at the outset, we knew that a lot of you were asking specifically about the incident that happened a month ago. I think we accurately and completely addressed that. Again, if you guys have any additional questions, I encourage you to open up tickets, and I've been jumping into tickets. I know the rest of the executive team has no problem jumping into tickets on Discord to have one-on-one conversations to clear things up. And that is the right venue to kind of do that. So moving past those two top questions that have already been answered, then we have a question around community. Gavin, you wanna take this one?
Yep. Yeah, so some community members with formal roles. Yeah, the community members that are moderators and members of committees, they might have earlier access to information and added roles and functionality to the Discord. We highlight who those users are, and we're careful to lock down assets and sales for employees and advisors around times that are, expected. And we audit behavior regularly and moderate this for conflict of interest. And usually when these users do have more information known, we'll make sure to communicate to that, and we take action. So.
And looks like the next one is also you around cooling off and banning roles on Discord specifically.
Okay. Yeah, we love the passionate community, but for conversations that we need to step in, we step in. We offer a lot of access to the team directly, either through support or the channels. You guys could reach out to us directly at any time. If someone's motive is to get answers to questions, we encourage them to do so. But if the intent of a user in the Discord is grabbing attention or to disconnect the community from really, Silk's main goal on growing, we will look into these users, and especially if they're hateful or hurtful comments, we will temp ban them, mute them, or a permanent ban. But usually that's the only time we'll bring in a permanent ban, is for those reasons exact.
Thank you. When will the MVP be released? Yeah, I think MVP, as far as a term, is probably something that we're going to move away from a little bit. So the way that we're thinking about the project and the way that Vinny kind of presented it, there's the portal that kind of functions as kind of the core gameplay loop. And then there's the metaverse that we're creating on the other end of it. So that's a little bit more of a experiential version of similar functionality. There's going to be things that you can do on Portal that you can't do in Metaverse. There's things in Metaverse that you won't be able to experience on the Portal. So hopefully the calendar kind of addressed some of that. Obviously, our push right now is to be ready for race season for this year's crop of yearlings. Why did we change the number of horses to mint with the Genesis avatar? Again, I think that this was something that we addressed in the AMA, that we addressed again here. Decreases demand for Genesis avatars. We're always going to be looking at, I think that I mentioned this also on the AMA, the value proposition for Genesis avatars is underappreciated. If the project is going to be so successful in coming years, that these Genesis avatars are going to be, all Genesis avatars are a seat at the table as a market maker for getting access to the Series 1 racehorses every year. I think that's a huge amount of value. I think the Derby contest that we're going to be doing and giving away additional prizes that are associated with having Genesis avatars, other stuff that we're going to be doing. We respect that those 10,000 assets are always going to be the highest value assets in the game. Candidly, the way that I've pitched it to friends and family about the project is a Genesis avatar is an investment in the company. Buying a racehorse is more akin to taking a chance on the value of a horse is only directly tied to the horse's performance in the real world, while the value of a Genesis avatar is related to how the company grows and how the community grows over time. Can we create a reward system for individuals to figure out how to game the system? As I mentioned, yes. We'll formalize what that means. and we'll get that posted up on Discord. Likely we'll include that also into the white paper. I think might be a good place for it, maybe in our terms of service also. So yes, we're going to do that. I think it's a great idea. What are the plans to keep the Silks economy viable in light of planned future in real life earnings increases? Dan, you want to take that one?
Sure. Can you repeat the question?
What are the plans to keep the Silks economy viable in light of the planned future in real life earnings increases?
Sure. It's a great question. Our game is, I think, the only game in the history of fantasy that's tied to the real world economy. So what we do is we publish a percentage of parity to the real world, and our goal is to grow that as our game grows and as our community grows, to get closer and closer to the real world prize purse. So we're starting the game at 1%, whatever the real world is. So if the real world gives away $1 billion, then the community has the opportunity to earn up to $10 million over the course of the racing season. If the prize purses grow to $1 billion, then so will our number, and our number will correspond to that as well. We obviously, our greatest lever as a company is the ability to adjust that percentage, and we will manage that just the way the Federal Reserve manages adjusting interest rates and monetary policy as well. But our goal is to grow it to parity with the real world over time, and we'll manage that diligently. And we expect that the corresponding value of in-game assets will track the real world. Will track the real world economy indirectly through the economy within the game. So as our percentages grow, we expect that the value of the underlying assets that are playing for those prize purses will also grow.
Thanks, Dan. Next question is back to the course change. Bought 11 avatars on the firm statement that I'd be able to make 1-1. You substantially changed it after my money was in. Is that unethical? I think that there's a misconception on what was going to happen when 1231 came. If we had revealed all the horses and put them up on OpenSea, everybody would be able to buy them, and the utility of your Genesis avatar would be challenged anyway. And it's a bit short-sighted to think of it in this season, because it's next season where those 11 avatars are going to be 11 opportunities to buy an unrevealed Series 1 racehorse, where you're not guaranteed to being able to do that after 1231. So I think that, again, I think there's some misconceptions of what was going to happen and how these things were going to go through. We needed to make a decision on that. I think that we made the best decision that we thought was possible for it. But again, I'm happy to have further conversations on it, and I encourage everybody to listen to the previous AMA. Genesis Avatars needing a good news story. OG5K, I think Benny showed that. The Series 1 stable looks awesome. I can't wait to have one and walk around in it. I hope you guys all feel the same way. Can current committed members continue to help grow Silks? What things inhibit the growth? This is thank you, D-Money. Thank you. That's the exact that's the community that we want right there. To help us grow, I think there's the affiliate program is going to help giving you guys the tools to bring in new users. New users are going to be the lifeblood of the project. They have been in the past. And that's going to be hugely beneficial to us. The idea of being able to help us find exploits and be rewarded for that, I think that's also useful. We do like to get the feedback that we do get. We're not shy about asking for it. And we're going to keep getting that communication loop done better. What things inhibit the growth of the project? This whole incident with these horses and everything associated with that slowed us down tremendously. That was the entire executive team kind of wasting days and hours trying to chase this issue down, figure out the best plan of it that for the longevity of the project. Things like that slow us down. we need to be moving forward at a very, very fast rate. So you guys can help us by helping highlight some of that, communicating through the proper channels, and then helping us kind of get the news out about the project to receptive audience. Treasury wallet. It's a good question. Dan, you want to take this one?
I don't see it on the screen. Can you read it? Oh,
Okay.
yeah, I see it now. I see it now. So we're incredibly transparent to the community. This is a privately held company. We've published how much money we've raised to date, so that is completely transparent. All of the transactions relating to direct sales from the company, specifically mints of all of our assets, are completely public and transparent. So everybody can see how much revenue has been generated directly by the company through mints. You can also see what's been generated by the company through royalties, because secondary market transactions are completely transparent. There's absolutely no precedent in fantasy sports and blockchain fantasy, in anything related to any of this, where a private company would provide access to bank accounts and things like that. Notwithstanding that, we will continue to be transparent and to provide the community with knowledge and information that will give you the confidence in our business, in our viability, and in our economics. So, hopefully that will, hopefully that's, that's a direct answer to the question. But we will be, I published what's sitting in our treasury in terms of asset value today, as well. So just the nature of blockchain itself provides massive transparency, which should provide this community with sufficient information to be able to assess the value and risk associated with their investment in their game pieces.
The next question, economics of greed. That's another Dan question. Why don't you take that?
Okay, that is a good question. Thank you. So when we originally launched the platform, the business, we had contemplated that when a horse is born in the real world, that the owner of the mare and the owner of the stallion would be rewarded. Now, in the real world, the way that happens is the owner of the mare typically pays the owner of the stallion a breeding fee. And when that horse is foaled, that breeding fee gets paid. The owner of the stallion gets a fee, and the owner of the mare gets to keep the horse. In order for us to simulate that type of activity, or to create rewards associated with breeding, which is a big part of the game, we had determined that we were going to pass to the owners of the mare and of the stallion a percentage of the mint that came in, and that's how you would be rewarded. And that the percentage would be larger for the owner of the mare, because the mare is producing less frequently by orders of magnitude than the male, so the mare and the stallion. When I did an AMA where we walked through a hypothetical economy and how it may play out. In that AMA, we modeled the breeding fees as 10% for the stallion and 15% for the mare across the projected value of the mints over the course of the life of those animals. You can go back to that AMA and watch it, and it will show you these hypothetical scenarios of what you could expect. And the numbers would get quite wild, so we speak to them as very hypothetical. Having said that, we are still exploring the economics of breeding and how we are going to reward the owners of the parents of horses that are bred. Because as we think about gameplay, we think that there's value to There's greater value to some horses than there are to other horses, and there should be greater breeding fees to horses that produce more productive offspring than others. And so this current model doesn't contemplate that. So we've been resistant in publishing this information until we've really thought through a lot of this. And given that breeding is not going to take place for a while, right? These horses are approaching 2 years old. If they start breeding as early as 3 years old, the first foals are going to come out at 4, and they're going to be yearlings available to sell at 5. So it's not something we have to deal with immediately. But if you were to use the data that I gave you as a target for how we're thinking about breeding, and go back and watch the AMA that speaks specifically about the economy, I think you should be able to kind of draw some understanding around where the potential is, and how you should think about breeding as you buy these assets, and think about how they potentially could produce rewards for you in the future.
Thanks. Continue. Status of fiat onboarding ramp for crypto NFT neophytes. Yeah, this is the number one issue, at least just from my perspective into the company right now. We need to figure out a way to bring on fresh blood that's coming in from outside. We're working on it. We have Venly's going to be back up and running again. We've had this love-hate relationship with Venly. It is a solution that works. A lot of you did come on through that model. We're doing a lot of thinking about ways that we can kind of bring, looking at best practices from other companies in the space that are also allowing to operate at quite a big scale. So when we think about the audiences that we have so far, we have people coming in from the thoroughbred horse racing world, and we have people coming in from the Web3 world. What we want to do is expand to be a little bit more mainstream. I think that the fantasy sports world is very right for this. Obviously, we're seeing success on it from other sports, and there's huge audiences with massive companies that are approaching those markets. That's the next market for us, but we need to get to best practices to do it. So super high priority, something that we're working on. The next one, with game additions and changes, will the community have the ability to vote? I think that I had mentioned too that we need to do a bit better of a job kind of bringing in community members to be able to do things. I think that there's a perspective that we have that the community just fundamentally can't have. And that's partly because we have a bunch of ideas that we're percolating, that we're testing. We don't know which ones of those are going to be viable and which ones aren't. But we need to make decisions now based on what we perceive of those things. And we can't tell you those things because then when we end up not delivering on 8 of the 10 harebrained ideas that we have, that'll create more damage than it's worth. So we're towing that line. We're balancing it. I don't think we've done the best job of it recently, and I think we're going to get much better at it.
Casey, could I just add to that real quick?
Yeah.
I think for us, everyone who's been with us since the beginning knows that the Web3 space has gone through ups and downs like crazy. And when you're developing something, you want to have a specific methodology around the overarching way the thing works. And as the space and market changes, your development process changes as well. And our lens for thinking through gameplay is restricted sometimes by thinking, what about the gas fees? What about the trust and transparency on the blockchain? All these variables. So the more that we're able to build a game that has the benefits of NFTs, but the flexibility, of kind of some of the Web 2 functions, it'll give us as a business the ability to give our users and our community gameplay that's super flexible and really, really great. And that's big for us and something that we will work on as it relates to communicating with the rest of you.
Awesome, thank you. Next, Wild West with a question about additional information on revealed horses. One of the really fun things about the project is that how deep you can go on kind of doing research related to the horses in particular. We're working on, and we can't disclose a lot of stuff, but we're working on some some deals on the back end that are going to give us access to a ton of different data that we can then bring in and house, so that you're not running around trying to find a bunch of additional information. I think that's part of the fun, to be honest, is running around and finding that information. The game is kind of created on an asymmetry of knowledge, right? If somebody's selling a horse and somebody else is buying it, it means that one person thinks that the horse is going to be worth more than the other. So there's something to be said for doing your own research and kind of diving in. That said, we're going to centralize a lot of the stuff that is available to make it very easy to kind of get an idea of like, okay, I'm interested in horses in Southern California that are going to race at Del Mar track. I want to be able to do that, and I want to be able to sort and find horses that I can make an offer on and purchase so that I can go watch my horses race. So we'll centralize a lot of that stuff under news.silks.io. Some of that is also going to live and tied directly into the portal. So when you're looking at a horse, you can find out more information about it there. So this is all part of the ecosystem that we're generating around this. Anonymous, I entered the game in December, bought only avatars based on the rules. Changing the avatar policy made their strategy non-viable. Hopefully we answered this. If we didn't answer this, I absolutely encourage you to open up a ticket in Discord. I will hop into that ticket and we can have a one-on-one conversation and go through it. I've done that already with some of the members of the community. I'm happy to kind of talk through it also with whoever wants to.
Can I quickly talk to that just for 1 second from my side?
Sure.
Just so the community hears kind of my thought process around this. The beautiful thing about Web3 is we all create aligned incentives for each other through the assets that we hold. So our team, is also highly invested or believes in the avatars, and particularly the Genesis avatars. It's not our intention to devalue them, but we are intending on building a long-term game. And as the platform scales and grows long-term, the value of the Genesis avatars is of the utmost importance. But that should be abundantly clear just by the fact that, myself, Dan, all of us, we all very much believe in Genesis avatars. So,
and I'll add one thing and say that I personally continue to buy these avatars from my own personal account with full knowledge of what's going on and believe in its value. And I know there are a lot of other team members that continue to accumulate these assets.
100%. I think if you go to OpenSea and you start looking at the top holders of avatars, you'd be surprised how many of those are people that are very close to this project. So the incentives are there, and I think that's really at the end of the day what matters most. So.
Thanks, guys. I think that addresses the next question too. I think we addressed the removal of down and right to vote. That was a kind of repeated question. Delay in publishing the calendar. Hopefully you guys just presented the calendar. The kind of nice thing about doing this in a quarterly calendar is that we'll do quarterly reviews. So you guys can hold us accountable. So next quarter, when we do the review and we say, hey, these are the things we're going to accomplish in quarter one, we better have accomplished those. And again, it's our goal to under promise and over deliver. So we want to set expectations with you guys. There have been a necessary number of delays that have associated with the project just because of the change in the economic climate, the change in specifically in the NFT and crypto space as we navigate what that means for our business and how we're going to move forward. So there's a bunch of things that we're working on. And things get delayed. I've been making games for a long time. We're moving. This team is amazing, moving at a breakneck speed. Expect to continue to get updates now that we've turned the corner and have a bunch of new things coming out. Compromise avatar enforcement. Plug the holes, confirm users. Yes, we did that. This is an interesting question because it goes down to what the nature of the specific incident was. So this person is saying, hey, if the horseman was compromised, somebody minted a great horse, and that great horse should have gone to somebody else. That's not actually what happened. So the person got, you get a random number, and then that random number is unique to you as it goes into the equation that ends up giving you your asset ID. So these ill-gotten horses didn't actually take those horses away from somebody else. It was just the size of it's wildly complicated and largely beyond my pay grade. But the size of the array changed, which meant that their random number was going to generate them a different horse once the array got to a certain point. So it wasn't taking a horse from somebody else, just so it's clear. Like otherwise, we would have happily given those great horses to somebody else. Just so we're completely aligned, it is Silk's goal to have all the great horses be in all the hands of the community because we want to pay winning horses. We want to pay you guys when you guys win races. So we would love to get those horses. Those horses are already back into circulation. They could be minted, and hopefully somebody will do so soon. Next one is about the number of Discord users. Gavin, why don't you take that one?
What is the true number of Discord users? So on Discord, the true number of people joining the server is the number that shows. That is a bot that's used in the Discord that people joining. Just from the analytics we do have on the Discord, I will say, through a month we have around 4,000 people that click our Discord to look. And, on an average week, we see around 400 weekly chatters. But from our known Discord, it's 24,000 at the moment. And then in our Discord, we use multiple bots to be cleaning out bot accounts. If we see one IP address join with multiple accounts, this bot recognizes that and then bans those people from Discord for security reasons if someone's trying to raid us. So we do a lot to make sure bots aren't joining our Discord, but obviously through, when we put on OpenSea or other websites through promotions, we will see heavy bot traffic, but we make sure to, be cleaning those out on the daily.
Gavin, how many people do you kick out every day on Discord?
On an average day, what this bot I was just saying, you'll see anywhere from 20 to 40 accounts be banned from that raid bot.
On a daily basis?
On a daily basis.
Next one, should we expect more rule changes? This goes back to, getting the white paper out. There are a handful of product decisions that haven't been made yet. And some of those as we're working through them, we're going to be figuring them out. The ones that we do know, we need to be more accurately and thoroughly communicating to you guys that it's very clear this is the direction that we're going. It's always going to be in our best interest to make sure that our interests are aligned with your interests, so that we're all kind of going the same direction. But we'll be more transparent about that. So expect a new white paper to be there. Any questions that you have, that's anything that's unclear, that's the purpose of the community. That's the kind of feedback that we want. If there's a perception that things are going to go one way and we were thinking that they're going to go another way, I'd rather have those conversations earlier. So asking great questions in Discord is a great way for us to kind of address some of that. And we keep going. Why is the team's marketing team's focus on avatar utility? It's not. To be clear, it's much more about onboarding new Silks members. And I think that the fiat on-ramp is part of that. And as soon as that particular piece falls into place, the rest of it will, and we'll be able to be much more aggressive about spending money and bringing people in. We have a bunch of promotions that we have lined up that we're just waiting for that to happen. Will Silks be advertising any deals, starter packs at Naira Bets and Fox Sports to attract new members? Yes, absolutely. Our partnership with Naira is our doorway into a very, very large audience, both on track and on broadcast. We'll definitely be doing a bunch of things with them. Naira Bets has a massive user base of people that we know love watching horses race. So we're also going to be tying things into that. So the beginning, we're at the very early stages of our partnership with Naira Bets. This is a strategic investment. This is a very long-term commitment. They are integral to what we're doing going forward. I want to buy unminted horses, but don't want to do so and then find out the rules have changed. The rules are solid. This is the direction that we're going, and this is what it is. I don't think that again, if people have further questions around the one-to-one avatar thing, by all means, open up a ticket and let's have a conversation about it. Anonymous with what is the meaning of life with an upvote? I'd be tempted to bring Troy up here to explain that, because I think living on a 200-acre horse farm in Kentucky is a pretty good step. Talk about life goals. Thanks for the question, though. If we had that answer, I don't know if we would be here. But I think we are all enjoying ourselves on the project, at least. I've been waiting for getting my wallet, visibility for my avatar. Okay, somebody just submit a sport ticket. We'll have the team take a look at it and bring it in. Silk's token. Silk's token, I think, is a little bit of that's a vestigial thing that kind of existed kind of before the larger change. There has been some kind of we're watching what other people are doing in the blockchain fantasy sector. Some people use a hard currency that exists that people are getting rewarded in. Some people are just rewarding people in USD. Some people are rewarding people in ETH. I think that remains to be kind of a bit of an open question, but we're finding other ways to integrate. If the purpose of the token in the original DAO model was to reward community members for participating in the growth of the project, Gavin and the team have some ideas on a new plan that's going to allow and reward people for doing that. One of the benefits of having a project with a bunch of different assets and NFTs that we can kind of use is that we can start using those as rewards for to incentivize beneficial promotional behavior. So we'll be rolling that out probably in the next week or two. So stay tuned for that. Does the team have different plans for different outcomes in regards to horse mint if we don't mint out or less than desired? Again, I think we want to get all. I don't think we're super concerned about getting the rest of the horses minted, the Series 1 horses. This is early times that as Dan had presented, we're off to an amazing start. Given the market and the economy and everything else that's committed, we don't have a lot of concerns. One of the things that came up on the AMA was like, oh, this plan will only work if we have a massive influx of new users. We need to have at least 6,000 new Genesis avatar holders come in. It's like those are it's kind of laughable from our perspective, because like that's not a bar. Like that's a very minor aspiration. We fully expect to be way beyond that. So we'll sell out of these horses. Will it happen before race season starts? Maybe not. But if you see a horse that that is unrevealed, that is running and winning races, you better bet that somebody's going to try to unlock that, or it'll surface in one of our auctions, and then the market value of that horse is going to be very high. So we have plans around all of this stuff. We're not super worried about getting the rest of the horses sold.
If I could just jump in on that as well. I think there are a couple of data points that are really interesting around our business that people should know. And the first is, when we look at the comparative landscape, we don't see it as competitive because it doesn't involve horse racing. But I've talked about these companies in the past. You have Sorare, which is a 3-year-old, 4-year-old company leading the pack in European soccer and now Major League Baseball and basketball. We track their growth, and it took them 22 months to achieve the volume of sales that we achieved in 7 months. So we're growing at 3 times their rate. When you look at their point of inflection, when they truly hockey sticked, it was when they introduced a fiat on-ramp and hid the blockchain and made it easy for the average person to be able to onboard. We are working very diligently to make that happen. And when that happens, we expect the combination of that, the combination of the release of the game and the launching of the season of racing to dramatically impact our business in a very, very positive and significant way. And so we're really building up to that point. Now, as it relates, so once we get to that point, these conversations will it'll be obvious why we're talking about them the way we are. The second point is, as it relates to these horses have an average horse lives for about 25 years. These horses will track the lives of the real horses over that period of time. Many horses don't even begin to race till they're 3 years old. And you can be assured that within this collection, there will be hundreds of horses, if not thousands of horses, that don't really begin to show their true value for several months to several years. And so those horses will continue to have significant value over that time, whether they're revealed or unrevealed. And whether they're sold in the next month or in the next 6 months is irrelevant to us. So we're not concerned at all.
Thank you. Josh, with the question of was the revealed contract rigged? One of the beauties of blockchain is that when there is something that looks suspicious, it's wildly transparent, and we see it in the same time that you guys see it. And there's plenty of people in the community that would hold us to task. If the contract was rigged, my stable would probably look a little bit better than it does. So we can pass on that one. I have two. Okay, this anonymous, you need to just submit a support ticket on it. And then Silk Pajamas sounds like a marketing guy. Closing us out with 2 questions about indirect and direct marketing. Indirect perspective, I think that part of it is just, again, I don't want to belabor the point, but the market conditions as they currently stand, the economy as it currently stands, we're crushing it relative to where other projects are and would be. Everybody's shrinking and we're growing. The value of our assets are appreciating, and we're just kind of getting warmed up. I'm not super worried about it. There's going to be a time and a place where we're doing it. We have a lot of plans to kind of come on to do it, and look out for those. And direct marketing, I think I addressed this too, but gambling influencers and getting into forums where people are discussing, all of that's great stuff. It sounds like this person might have a little bit of some ideas that they want to pitch. By all means, find me, hit me up, and pitch it, open up a ticket, and I can drop in and have a conversation about it. But we're pretty aggressive about what our plans are and how we're going to reach the goals. And we have very, very high aspirational goals for this project. And that is all of the questions. So appreciate it. Dan, Gavin, Benny, you guys have anything to close us out?
I just, again, thank you all for participating today. We are incredibly excited about where we are. We're working around the clock to get the platform out and fully functional by race season. You should expect to see a lot of what we've shown you go live in the coming days and weeks, and we'll be providing more clarity around the timing of some of the things that we showed you, like the OG 5K reward, which will be coming soon. And we're just super excited, to be a part of this project, to be here with you today, to share updates, and just can't wait for what's coming. So that's all I got to say. And Happy New Year.
Thank you, everyone. It was a pleasure.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, this was awesome. See everyone soon.
Bye.